Project Fanboy proudly presents our coverage of the DC panels at MegaCon 2010.
Within the next year or two, we are going to see a resolution to the Marvel family storyline that Jerry Ordway started in JSA. And does Jerry Ordway already kind of have a plan for it?
Okay, you're talking about the one that they just finished up in JSA 25?
Black Adam and Iris end up in stone. The Wizard Marvel shows up, takes the power away from Billy and Mary, says he can't do anything to Freddy, but someday he will as soon as he can. And then it just ends, and
The answer is yes. It is. Yeah, it's not right away, but it's coming. It's actually built up for a particular storyline at a particular moment.
Is Ordway on that, or is somebody else going to come in?
There were several people on that.
My question was that I've been reading DC for a long time, but even I found Crime for Justice #7 to be awfully disturbing, and I wondered if you guys have gotten a lot of feedback on that.
Good. Yeah, we have a lot. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say this. I thought it was an incredibly well-written story and script. And you know why I say that? Because the level of impact that it had with so many people, both plus and minus, shows that it was able to deliver. And a story like that's it's never going to be able to have a full acceptance and a full embrace on it. But I think it was done incredibly well. I think James did a brilliant job with it. It was a very difficult story to tell. And I think he did all the proper twists and turns and built up to the moment, and it hit as hard as it could. I thought it was done well. It's a tough story, yes, but I think the ramifications of what that story is and how it builds out into DCU is what we're all about. I think it's exciting. I really do.
The young lady in the back?
You said that there's probably going to be a return of Bruce. Is that going to undo any of the growth that's happened with Damian?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Damian is a key character in the DCU. I want to be very clear about that. And Bruce's return does not mean that he is going to be Batman. Okay? Bruce comes back. Okay? We've got a lot of great story with Dick Grayson as Batman right now, and people have reacted incredibly well. It's also polarized people too. You know? Speaking, you're going to be my official polarizer today. Okay?
We're working a lot with Tim being the one to try to find Bruce. Are you guys going to do some sort of team up with Tim and Bruce?
I think one of the things we wanted to do with Tim trying to find him, because a lot of people have always said that Tim was the most logical next Batman, because he seemed to be the smartest of the bunch. You know, he wasn't one that chose to be Batman because of personal tragedy. He sort of grew into that role. He didn't have the angst from it, so he had a very clear sense of right and wrong and what he went into, and he had a much clearer ambition of being and achieving to be a hero. So that's what makes Tim quite interesting. And I think one of the things you see is everybody getting a different level of respect for Tim because he was correct, and all of his assumptions were correct as you start to backtrack and see how it all came together. Okay? So it's an interesting piece. It's not something that I'm hoping that we're able to bring those subtleties out in the characters and their relationships and enrich them a little bit more along the way. Okay?
Back to the Crime for Justice 7. I agree with you, it's a great story. The question I have is, now that Ollie's committed murder in the name of justice, what happens to him? And quite frankly, does anybody even know that he did it?
That's the rise and fall story that's taking place in the Justice League miniseries right now. Feeds into that, and his entire new series. Somebody call Bob. What happens to Green Lantern? Green Arrow is really exciting.
It's exciting.
Take that exciting line and put it over here now.
No more questions for Dan. No more Dan will answer all the questions. All right.
I'm only answering outside of questions.
Okay, it's fine. Right there.
I got an easy question. It's a two-parter. One, Jerry Ordway is the man.
Yes, agreed.
We need more Jerry Ordway.
Yes.
Are we going to see any more Sergeant Rock? Sergeant Rock
I can answer
awesome.
that.
Yeah, take it.
It's a possibility. Billy Tucci's series really did well, and everybody seemed to like it. And I've heard Sergeant Rock's name in the hallway at DC here and there. I don't know what that means.
One quick for
I know nothing.
That's right. He's not allowed to do Dan. I'm going to answer to Dan. You can ask Dan. I'll answer.
Okay. Can I get you to sign my weird Western day?
Absolutely.
guy from Big Bang in front of all the girls. Can't speak now.
In the back.
Yeah, all of this talk about what they're doing with some of the characters is making me just wonder the possibility of Bruce Wayne as Robin.
Next you're gonna say Ant-Man's the Wasp.
Orange in the back. Yeah, you're as orange as they get, buddy.
Okay, right. D-Titans lineup question. I know that Connor's coming back once the current Static Shock storyline is resolved. What about Bart? Is he going to be rejoining the team at some point?
Stefan, you want to get that?
You've been too quiet. Oh no. You can make it up. Oh yeah. That's not true.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Really look forward to the first wave miniseries, this wave of titles. Is it possible that the Forgotten Heroes might be integrated into that room?
Can't remember?
No, they're not, because the rules of first wave are there's superheroes without superpowers. That's the first and foremost rule. The reason we did that is when we had characters like Doc Savage being introduced, we wanted him to be the pinnacle of perfection. He was supposed to be the perfect man for the most part. And if you put Doc Savage next to Superman or any of these other superpowered characters, sort of diminishes what his accomplishments are, who he is. So from my standpoint, what I really want to do is really put him up at the pedestal and then build the universe around him. And I think that way you can see a better sense of interaction and characters like Wildcat, characters like the Blackhawks and Justice Inc., and then ultimately the Batman that comes into that world, and Spirit, all on a little bit more interesting playing field. So I think it works better that way, and that's why we want to keep it in a very succinct style. There shouldn't be anybody with superpowers in that world. Okay?
In the blue, all the way back, Lantern shirt.
You mentioned the new Green Lantern storyline, Emerald Warriors. How's that going to split up? Who's going to be where? What series is going to have which characters, stuff like that?
Well, why you want to read it? Cut all the fun stuff out. Yeah, some of it we'll just keep a mystery, so you can enjoy it later. But it has been said that Guy Gardner and Kilowog would be in Emerald Warriors.
Okay.
They'll probably be headlining. In fact, if you read Pete's run on Green Lantern Corps, he gravitated towards, especially towards Guy, I think, and did a great job with that character. So it's going to have that same feel.
I have a question.
Do you have a question? Go ahead.
Tony, coming on board Green Lantern Corps, who's your favorite Green Lantern to write?
Now, I don't know if that's a trick question for me or not, because weirdly enough, I never had a favorite Green Lantern. I just love the Green Lantern concept. And so for me, it was never an issue if it was Hal or Kyle or John or whoever. I just like seeing all of those guys. I had the same thing with the Legion of Superheroes, though. I remember as a reader, the first time I saw the Legion, I just thought, who are all those guys? There's just such depth and so much to be discovered there. And that's the fun part of Green Lantern Corps. You're never going to run out of these weirdo dudes from other sectors that walk through there. So that's my thing.
Okay, ready?
Okay, War of the Superman, the whole new Krypton is starting.